Sometimes the best innovations come from the streets, not the boardroom. My name is Aria Rodriguez, and this is the story of how being just a tour guide led me to revolutionize the travel industry. But let me start from the beginning. Growing up in San Francisco with immigrant parents who worked their way up in Silicon Valley, expectations were always sky high. My father was a software engineer at Apple, my mother a product manager at Google, and my older brother Diego was already making waves as a startup founder by the time he turned 25. Then there was me, the family disappointment who chose to study tourism and anthropology instead of computer science. Aria mi hija, my father would say, his voice heavy with concern. You have such a bright mind. Why waste it showing people around Fisherman's Wharf? What my family didn't understand was that I saw something they didn't. While they were busy building apps in air-conditioned offices, I was on the ground, watching how people actually experience cities. Every tour I gave was a lesson in human behavior, every interaction a data point in what would eventually become the foundation of Local Lens. It started simply enough. After graduating from UC Berkeley with my impractical double major, I began giving walking tours of San Francisco. Not the standard tourist traps, but the hidden gems I'd discovered growing up in the city. The hole-in-the-wall dim someplace in Chinatown that only locals knew about, the secret urban gardens tucked between skyscrapers, the underground art galleries in converted warehouses. My tours became popular, not because I was showing people famous landmarks, but because I was showing them how to experience the city like a local. I started keeping detailed notes on my phone about what worked, what didn't, and most importantly, what people wished they could do but couldn't. I wish I could find places like this on my own, was something I heard constantly. If only there was a way to experience every city like this, others would say. That's when the idea started forming. What if there was a way to give everyone their own personal local guide? Not just recommendations from strangers on the internet, but curated experiences based on real local knowledge and individual preferences? I started spending my evenings coding. Yes, despite choosing tourism over tech, I'd picked up programming as a hobby, much to my family's obliviousness. My tiny studio apartment became my development lab, walls covered in user journey maps and wireframes. The first version of Local Lens was rough. I tested it with my tour groups, using them as unwitting beta testers. The app would learn from their preferences and behaviors, creating personalized city experiences that felt like having a friend showing you around. My brother found out about my little project during a family dinner. A travel app? Diego laughed. Aria, there are thousands of those. What makes yours different? I tried explaining my vision, how Local Lens would use AI and real local insights to create truly personalized experiences, how it would learn and adapt to each user's preferences, how it would make authentic local experiences accessible to everyone. Stick to your tours, Hermanita, he said dismissively. Leave the tech to the professionals. But I kept working. During the day, I gave tours, gathering more insights and data. At night, I refined my algorithms. I scraped together every penny I could, living on instant ramen and coffee, pouring everything into development. The breakthrough came when one of my regular tour clients turned out to be a junior associate at Sequoia Capital. She saw me using the prototype during a tour and asked for more details. This is exactly what the travel industry needs, she said, eyes lighting up. Would you be interested in pitching to my firm? I spent weeks preparing for that pitch, rehearsing in front of my bathroom mirror while my family continued to ask when I was going to get a real job. The day of the presentation, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. But when I started talking about Local Lens, everything clicked. I wasn't just showing them an app, I was showing them the future of travel. The algorithms that could predict what experiences a user would love based on their behavior patterns. The machine learning systems that could create perfectly customized itineraries. The social features that connected travelers with local experts in real time. 2 hours later, I walked out with a $5 million seed round. My family's reaction was predictable. It's probably just a pity investment, my mother said. They like to support diversity in tech. But I didn't care anymore. I had funding, validation, and most importantly, the chance to prove that my waste of time actually meant something. The next year was a blur. I assembled a team of developers, data scientists, and most importantly, other tour guides who understood the human element of travel. We launched in San Francisco first, then expanded to other major cities. The response was overwhelming. Users loved how Local Lens seemed to read their minds, suggesting exactly the kind of experiences they were looking for. Tourism boards started reaching out, wanting to partner with us. Major hotel chains and airlines wanted to integrate our technology. Our Series A round raised $50 million. Series B brought in $200 million. By the time we started preparing for our IPO, Local Lens was being used in over 500 cities worldwide, with over 50 million active users. And still, at family gatherings, my parents would introduce Diego as our entrepreneur, while I was just our tour guide. Which brings us to today, at the biggest tech conference of the year, where my mother's dismissive comment about me still showing tourists around town was about to be spectacularly proven wrong. As I stepped onto the stage, facing a sea of phones recording what would become one of the most viral moments in tech history, I felt a strange sense of peace. This wasn't about proving my family wrong anymore. It was about showing the world that innovation can come from unexpected places. Yes, I'm a tour guide, I began, my voice steady. And that's exactly why Local Lens works. Because while everyone else was building travel apps from behind desks, I was out there learning what travelers really need. Every feature in our platform came from real experiences, real problems, real solutions. I clicked to the first slide, showing our growth metrics. Local Lens isn't just another travel app. It's a new way of experiencing the world. We're not just suggesting places to go. We're understanding who you are and what moves you. We're turning every city into a personalized adventure. The presentation continued with our latest innovations, augmented reality features that could overlay historical information as you walk through cities, AI-powered local guides that could answer questions in real time, cultural exchange programs that connected travelers with local communities. And today, I announced, I'm proud to share that Local Lens has just become the fastest-growing travel platform in history, with a valuation of $1.2 billion at our IPO. The room erupted in applause. In the audience, I could see my mother's hand covering her mouth, my father's eyes wide with disbelief, and my brother. Well, Diego actually looked proud. Later, at the reception, my family approached. My mother's eyes were wet with tears. "Aria," she said softly, "we were wrong." "So wrong." My father hugged me tightly. "You saw something we couldn't see, Mihija. You were right to follow your path." Diego, ever the entrepreneur, already had ideas for potential collaborations. But more importantly, he had an apology. "I should have supported you, Hermanita. You're not just a tour guide, you're a visionary." But the most meaningful moment came when a young woman approached me, clutching her phone with the Local Lens app open. "Your app helped me discover my own city in ways I never imagined," she said. "I'm a tour guide too, and everyone keeps telling me it's not a real career, but you've shown us that understanding people and places has real value." I smiled, remembering my own journey. "Never let anyone define the limits of your dreams," I told her. "Sometimes the best view of the future comes from the ground up." That evening, in my hotel room, I opened Local Lens and looked at the millions of people currently using the app around the world. Each glowing dot on the map represented someone discovering their own unique adventure, experiencing a place in exactly the way that moved them most. My phone buzzed with messages, congratulations, partnership offers, interview requests. But I was already thinking about the next evolution of Local Lens. Because success isn't just about reaching a destination. It's about continuing the journey. The next morning, I did something that surprised my team. I signed up to give a walking tour of San Francisco. Not for the publicity or the symbolism, but because being on the ground, connecting with real travelers, understanding their needs and dreams, that's what made Local Lens special in the first place. As I led my group through the colorful streets of North Beach, I couldn't help but smile at how things had come full circle. My phone kept buzzing with notifications about our soaring stock price, but I was more interested in watching how my tour group was using Local Lens to enhance their experience. A young couple was using our AR feature to learn about the history of City Lights bookstore. A solo traveler was connecting with a local art expert through our community platform. A family was following our AI-generated personalized food trail through Little Italy. This was the real measure of success, not the billion-dollar valuation, but seeing how our technology was helping people create genuine connections with places and communities. The tech world was already calling Local Lens a unicorn, but I preferred to think of it as a bridge, connecting travelers with authentic experiences, connecting communities with opportunities, connecting technology with human experience. Last week, I received an email from my first tour client, the one who'd inspired the original idea for Local Lens. Dear Arya, I just used Local Lens during my trip to Tokyo, and it felt exactly like having you as my guide, showing me hidden gems, understanding exactly what I'd love, helping me experience the city in my own unique way. You've turned your gift for understanding people and places into something that's changing how the world travels. Thank you for being just a tour guide. I keep that email pinned to my office wall, alongside our IPO bell and the first handwritten notebook where I sketched out the idea for Local Lens. They remind me that innovation doesn't always come from where you expect it, that understanding humans is as important as understanding technology, and that sometimes the best way to disrupt an industry is to start from the ground and work your way up. We're expanding now, not just in terms of cities and users, but in how we think about travel itself. Local Lens is becoming a platform for cultural exchange, economic empowerment, and community building. We're partnering with local businesses, artists, and experts around the world, turning tourism into a force for positive change. My parents now proudly tell everyone that their daughter is the tour guide who revolutionized travel. Diego regularly asks for my advice on user experience and community building for his own startup. And at industry events, I'm no longer introduced as a tech founder who used to be a tour guide, but as a tour guide who changed the tech world. To the next generation of innovators, I say this: don't let anyone tell you your perspective isn't valuable. Don't let them convince you that your experience isn't relevant. Every industry needs people who understand it from the ground up, who can see the gaps because they've lived them. The future of technology isn't just about coding and algorithms. It's about understanding human needs, desires, and connections. It's about building bridges between the digital and physical worlds, between global platforms and local communities. And sometimes, just sometimes, it takes a tour guide to show the way. 5 years after our IPO, Local Lens has become more than just a successful company. It's a movement. Our platform has helped revitalize local economies, preserve cultural heritage, and create sustainable tourism models around the world. My old touring spots in San Francisco have become innovation hubs where we test new features and gather insights. The tiny apartment where I first coded Local Lens is now a startup incubator for tour guides and travel entrepreneurs with big dreams. That junior associate who believed in us at Sequoia? She's now a partner, and we've created a fund specifically for supporting innovations in travel and cultural exchange. The young woman who approached me at the tech conference has launched her own successful feature on our platform, helping people discover the hidden stories of her hometown. Last month, I gave a commencement speech at UC Berkeley, standing in front of a new generation of graduates with impractical dreams. I told them my story, not as a tech success, but as a reminder that expertise comes in many forms, and that sometimes the best way to disrupt an industry is to understand it from the inside out. My family has learned their lesson. At our weekly dinners, they no longer differentiate between the tech success and the tour guide success. They've understood that innovation isn't about following a predetermined path. It's about creating new ones. Yesterday, I received a message through Local Lens from a traveler in Barcelona. Your app didn't just help me find amazing places. It helped me understand this city's soul. Thank you for showing us that travel can be both high-tech and deeply human. That message now sits in my inspiration folder, alongside our latest user statistics and growth metrics. Because at the end of the day, Local Lens isn't about becoming a billion-dollar company. It's about changing how people experience the world. And me? I still give tours occasionally, though now they're called innovation walks, where I share the story of Local Lens and encourage others to look for opportunities in unexpected places. Because sometimes the best way to see the future is to keep your feet on the ground while reaching for the stars. To anyone who's being told their perspective isn't valuable enough, their experience isn't relevant enough, or their dreams aren't practical enough, remember my story. Remember that every industry needs revolutionaries who understand it from the ground up. And sometimes, just sometimes, being just a tour guide can change the world.